Hi everyone. I'd like to have a look at a structural truss and maybe just delve into a little bit of the history of Revit. See, Revit originally was a little bit like Autodesk Inventor way back in the day, Mechanical Desktop, maybe Pro Engineer or SolidWorks, and that is how it started. But simplifying assumptions were made because Revit is built for architecture and buildings aren't deemed to be as complex as things like gearboxes and rockets and aeroplanes and that kind of thing. What makes it challenging for somebody that comes from a mechanical and a exact modeling background where we're used to drawing profiles, constraining them mathematically, and then operating with Boolean operations and them, extruding them, revolving them, and so forth. So it's how to get used to what I like to term the character of Revit. And what one must realize is that Revit is intuitive. And for this reason, it pays to sort of play with the software. In this case, it might look a bit complex, but let me just try and explain in essence what I'm doing here. I'm using reference planes. For those of you that model families, reference planes will be nothing new. I'm using reference planes to manipulate where structural members will be on a truss. That's the top chord, that's the bottom chord, and then we've got the inclined members. And remember that if you take an inclined member and you have to turn it vertical, it turns into a black member. It recognizes itself as a vertical member. Alright? Now the idea here is that the height or the width of the truss can be manipulated using this dimension over here, and that controls where the two chords that are parallel to each other are running from. And what I'd like to have are these webs that connect to a point that automatically move with this line. So to achieve this in the first instance, well, it's quite interesting really, in that the top member, which you can see there, the top chord, does not in this truss extrude all the way through to a point of geometry that defines it. Instead, there's a reference line that extrudes up until there. And then the top chord is slave to this little intersection right there. Now let's see what happens when I move the top chord away. Can you see how the web follows it wherever it goes? How do we do that? It's not too tricky, but it does take a little bit of concentration. Remember, your object snaps SI states that you will explicitly snap to an intersection over here. And notice how the blue lines highlight that intersection. If you're wondering about which buttons to press for which object snaps, remember you can go to your Manage tab. There are the object snaps and the shortcuts. So I'm pressing SI to snap to an intersection, and there you can see that it is for intersections SI, and you just type these and automatically they will happen. And what I've done is disconnected these three web members over here, and I need to connect them to that intersection there. So let's take this web over here. I drag this point and I type SI for snap intersection, and now I hover over those two, and can you see highlights in blue, and I drop it. But now I must be careful with the other ones. I must not come in such a fashion that I highlight this one, stack snap intersect, that I snap to the wrong members when I snap in here. Alright, you want to snap to the ones that highlight, and that's the trick. That's the trick to remember. Otherwise there'll be a reference to the wrong members. And it's nothing more complex than that. Now we just check whether this family can flex. I change the definition, and I see that the truss members are indeed behaving correctly. Like I said, there's no hard logic to this like there would be with Inventor or SolidWorks or one of the equivalent packages. It's Revit, and it's got a character. So have a look at what other people are doing and learn from others and their methods, and also play with a family. You will often discover things for yourself once you get to know the character of Revit. Until next time, good luck with modeling up your families.